Hello, good night, YouTube. My name is Kevin Eckstein, and I'm here to discuss with you something that's very important. There's a saying, there's a saying, if you don't learn to make money while you're sleeping, then you'll have to work until you die. And no one wants to do that. And don't worry, we're in Trinidad, and Trinidad has old age pension, and it has paid up in full pension, which is you could, if you paid your contributions of 750, you get to retire, which on average is about 20 to 25 years for most Trinidadians. So, we have a set work schedule that we can work to, and we have an end goal that, we can reach and retire and have a little stipend coming in. Unfortunately, the government stipend is around 3,500, which is not the most amount of money in the world. I'm not going to go out there and buy an Audi or Mercedes or anything like that with that salary, with that pension. So you work all your life, you live check to check. What are some of the investments you can make in your life that's going to change that outcome? Now, we always hear save for a rainy day, and there are a lot of insurances out here that provide you with some investment opportunities. But there's so many different ways to make passive income that we really need to focus on them, especially in the Caribbean. And we're in a position where COVID has shown and has drastically reoriented the Caribbean, in that you realize that your 9 to 5 job is no longer providing you your standard active income, which is you're exchanging your time for money, and you can't spend time on a job if you can't go to work because of COVID. And so now everything is being restructured. You work from home, you try to establish a different sort of balance, and you reorient yourself. So the lie you were told when you were a child, what do you want to be when you grow up? They always you encourage children to say, I want to be a fireman, I want to be a lawyer, a doctor, I want to be, and there's nothing wrong with being these things because these are upstanding members of society, but at the end of the day, they something like COVID hits, and suddenly you realize that 9 to 5 that you anticipated would provide for you is really an unstable, and it's a very frivolous thing. And not to mention that the most important elements in life is family, it's friends, it's the bonds we share with people. So anything that we can do to maximize the time and the bonds that we share with those that we love will ultimately improve the quality of our lives. So what I'm here to discuss with you is methods and how you can get about developing passive income. All the people who want to jump on that bandwagon of the army susu and the Ponzi schemes that popping up all over the place, turn 1,500 into 10,000. How many people you see walking around rich with doing that? Nobody. Forex trading, everybody jump on that bandwagon. Bitcoin. I mean, these things have the potential to grow, but none of them are get rich quick. None of them, can facilitate. They all, they all reinvent themselves, but at the end of the day, it's just a Ponzi. Ten people to invest, and they'll all group share, and you'll get something out of it. It doesn't work because there's always somebody at the bottom rung, and if the population in the country is finite, at some point there'll be that last person brought in who has no one else to bring in, and then what's going to happen? The whole system will collapse, and you'll have a riot in La Hoquita like we had last time. Everybody want back the money. So don't fall for these frivolous things. So I'm hoping to discuss with you forms of passive income. And passive income is where you invest your money up front, you invest your time up front, you create something, and it continually pays for you as time goes on, right? As time goes forward. So you write a book. You write a book. You create something, and then you sell it, and you sell it to multiple people again and again and again and again, and it keeps generating income. That is what we call passive income. So you're asleep in bed and somebody's reading your book, they recommend it to a friend, that person buys it, and it just keeps on going, right? So what we want to do is give you all the tools to develop passive income. And I'm not just going to talk about it. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to do it. So I will walk you through, I'm going to do this entire series where I'm going to develop about 10 different streams of passive income. And I'm going to bring you along for the journey so you can see what works, what doesn't work, what's feasible and what's not feasible. And especially in our climate of being in the Caribbean, right? So let's see. Okay, so I'm hoping to get through 10 of these, and I'll keep working on these 10. And of course, feel free to comment, feel free to make recommendations. If you feel you have an alternative passive income that you think will benefit the country or benefit people within the country, share, comment. Please click subscribe if you like the content, if you find it helpful. Let me know. If you think there are things I could change or things I can add, I'm willing to grow. So the first one I want to discuss with you is stocks. That is perfect. Stock investments. You can start with your basic stock that you invest in, whether it be FCB, for those people in Trinidad, we invest in our locals, FCB, flour mills, there are a few here, TCL, Trinidad Cement Limited. You can invest in a few solid companies in Trinidad that have a pretty good track record, and some of these companies provide dividends. And so there are two forms of growth that you have happening here. You may have potential increases in stock price, which increases the overall value of your portfolio, and you may have potential increase or distributions of dividends, which you can receive every quarter, right? And dividends will vary based on the organization, based on the level of profit they produce, and based on what they declare for dividends, right? And so you invest in these shares, and then they pay a dividend, and they roughly can range different percentages. And so I mean, if you, I'll break down some numbers for you, where if you invest $1,000, you'll see what sort of return you get. But the goal is not to just invest $1,000. I mean, there's compound interest to also consider. So if you continually keep reinvesting your money, it will grow, and it will continue to grow. I mean, in life there's risk. Hopefully we don't have another Clico where the company folds on itself. But I think the country has learned from its mistakes, and managers in charge tend to seek not to repeat the mistakes of the past. So we take under the good faith that the people we have elected to manage our assets are taking the best interests at heart, and they're not out to unscrupulously run away with the money. So there's risk. And I mean, and I'm just tempering this to say, hey, I'm not a financial advisor. You don't have to invest in the stocks that I recommend. You don't have to use any of the ones that I use. But I'm giving you a walkthrough to show you what I'm done. And like I said, I'm giving myself a baseline of $1,000, and I'll slowly build a portfolio, and you'll see how that portfolio performs over time. And that'll give you an essence of like, hey, you're a regular guy, you're working a job, you're a security guard, and you're thinking to yourself, I can't invest. I don't have money, I don't have time. And I'm going to show you that you can do it. All you have to do is put aside a little bit every month, right? And you develop these sort of assets that are passive, that will generate income for you continually. Okay? The second one I wish to discuss is, and this one's kind of tricky, cashback. There are get cashback by providing a link to something. Or you make a recommendation to a friend, hey, why don't you use this bank? And the bank provides you a kickback of $20 for recommending that individual to use their service. And we're quite interested in that. So how would we use cashback? Places like PriceSmart offer points. Places like Massey food stores offer points. And what you could begin to do is that if you're in a small community or a church, you can form a susu. And not as a traditional susu of a susu hand where we shop and we go, I put in 200, everybody put in 200 for the first week and put in 200 for the next week. Rather than do that, let's say everybody has Massey points to collect. In January, everybody shops on one card. And all those points accumulate to that one card. You can then redeem all those points for something that you want. In February, the same group continues their usual monthly shopping, but they all do it under a second person's card. And once again, you suddenly get a mass of points. You see? So this requires a little bit of effort where you form a little team in your community and you say, all right, who have the big vans? You're getting ready to go PriceSmart, you're getting ready to go Massey to do regular groceries, and you buy for the group. You buy in bulk for the group, so you get a lower rate when you're buying in bulk, and you get the benefit of collecting points. And when you collect all these points, it's like you almost get your groceries for free. Next month, you're buying the regular groceries that you usually buy. So you're not extending yourself in any way, shape, or form. You are making a usual expenditure, but your first or whenever your turn comes in the group, you getting all the points, and in essence, you can utilize those points to pay back for your groceries, and you almost get groceries for free just by having a strong connection with your community. I believe this is something churches could take advantage of. And when I say churches, I mean every church, mosque, any place of worship, any place where people congregate together, community centers. You all come together, you all form a group and take advantage of these sorts of passive forms of income. Because everyone sees, court sees it as, Starbucks, and this other place, they give you an incentive. You buy one rituals. You buy coffee and you punch your card. You buy 10 coffees, you get the 11th one free. Well, could you imagine you had 10 friends? And every time, everybody felt like going by rituals. We do it once a week. Go by rituals, everybody get a coffee and you get one free. Right away. And you keep the free one. Next week, everybody goes again. They buy their regular rituals and someone else will get a free coffee. And you continually go through that cycle of accumulating those points on a group basis, and you seek the benefit of whatever the points reward you. I like it. Simple. All right. There are also some other cashback websites that I'll recommend, but they may require you to have access to foreign cards in order to take advantage of but they have to pay you, and they if it's a US based organization, they're going to pay you in US, so you have to have some way for them to pay you. And some people use Cash App. I don't think Trinidad has Zelle yet, so we're a little behind, unfortunately, but we'll catch up. Someone said they recommended this, you can lend money. I wouldn't recommend that. Friendships and money are recipes for disaster. So even though some of you might think, that's a good idea, then I disagree with that. That's not one of my I'm just mentioning it because I know somebody will say, why didn't you say lend money, charge interest? Banks lend money and charge interest. And honestly, how do we all feel about banks? Courts lends money and charges interest. And how do we feel about courts? This lending and charging interest thing, it's a very ugly practice. It does not improve the quality of your life, honestly. It gets you out of a jam, but it sticks you in another jam. So I wouldn't recommend it. I really won't. I would rather you give your friend knowledge, give them wisdom, you help them invest, you help them discover ways to get them out of the situation that they're in, and improve the quality of their life. I think that's much better, and you'll get much more satisfaction from doing that. Right? So the next method is to create a blog and attempt to monetize it. And there are those of you who are personal trainers, and you feel and it doesn't matter if 5 personal trainers post a video. Everybody is unique. Each one of you has your own personal approach, your flair, your way of speaking, and by so doing, people can connect with you on the level that you approach them. So sometimes people feel, well, she already does this, or so and so already doing this. That doesn't mean anything. So that person might only be able to reach a particular type of audience. You have your personality, and you may be able to reach a different segment of the population. So there's always opportunity, and you never know who your words might help. So if you have something to say, you can create a blog, and then you can monetize that blog by placing ads on your blog through Google, or just soliciting businesses locally, provided you have a following. And you can say, you go to a business and say, hey, I have a blog where I just basically express my my inner thoughts on certain topics, and I have a following of about 10,000 people. And if you have a following of 10,000 people, and a business is interested or has something that you do support, that you feel your listeners could benefit from, and you make a recommendation, and the business pays you to advertise on your blog. Simple. So every time someone clicks and reads something, and they see that ad, you get paid. Passive income. Because you wrote your blog once, you don't have to write it again, and whenever someone reads it, you receive compensation for the ads that they also look at while they're reading your content. See? Simple.